How to steal eggs from a 12-foot monster and not become dinner. You are waist-deep in the murky, rotting swamps of Louisiana. The water is black. You can't see your own knees, let alone what's swimming between your legs. The air smells like methane and decaying leaves. You are not a hero. You are not a soldier. You are an alligator egg collector. And you are about to do the most dangerous, terrifying job in America. Forget the office cubicle. Your workplace is a prehistoric death trap. Your boss is a reptile that outlived the dinosaurs, and your only armor is a cheap pair of rubber boots. One wrong step and your career is over, permanently. Let's look at your inventory. Infographic, the egg collector's loadout. You don't get a shotgun, a harpoon, or a steel cage. Your primary weapon is a dull PVC pipe. Cost, $5. Effectiveness against a prehistoric killing machine, highly questionable. It is not for hitting. It is for probing the black mud beneath the surface, feeling blindly for the hard, scaly back of a 500-pound mother who wants to rip your leg off. Your secondary gear? A plastic bucket for the eggs and a machete to hack through razor-sharp sawgrass. The sawgrass slices your arms like paper. The swamp sweat burns the cuts. Mosquitoes swarm you in thick black clouds, drinking you alive. But you can't slap them. You have to stay perfectly still. You are hunting a creature that feels a single water ripple from 50 feet away. Every splash is a dinner bell. Why are you here? You aren't crazy. You are broke. The economics of the swamp are brutal. An alligator farm pays $30 per egg. A good nest holds up to 50 eggs. That is $1,500 for 10 minutes of sheer terror. It is more cash than a bank teller makes in a month. But the bank teller doesn't have to worry about a sudden violent death before lunch. You push through the thick reeds, and then you see it. A massive mound of rotting vegetation rising above the black water line. The nest, the holy grail. It looks peaceful, but the swamp is lying to you. Heat from the rotting plants acts as a natural incubator. And somewhere in that dark, murky water, right next to the mound, the mother is waiting. She is a prehistoric submarine with bone-crushing jaws. You can't see her, but she is watching you right now. You step closer. The mud sucks at your rubber boots like quicksand, trying to pull you under. This is a two-man operation. You are the prodder. Your partner is the grabber. Guess who has the worst job? You do. You have to stand waist-deep between the nest and the open water, holding nothing but that flimsy piece of plastic pipe. Your partner crouches behind you, ready to dig into the rotting mound of vegetation. You stare into the black abyss. Nothing. Just duckweed and rising methane bubbles. But you know the truth. She is right there. A 12-foot, armor-plated demon holding her breath, waiting for the perfect angle to strike. You lower your pipe into the murky depths. You probe the mud. Left, right, left. Suddenly, the pipe hits something solid. It's not a sunken log. It's scaly. It's a skull. You just tapped the snout of a living dinosaur. The water explodes. A massive, scaly head breaches the surface, jaws snapping shut with the sound of a slamming car door. 3,000 pounds of bite force, inches from your kneecap. You don't run. You can't run in this waist-deep mud. Instead, you jam the PVC pipe down hard against her snout. This flimsy piece of plastic is the only thing keeping you off the menu. She thrashes, rolling furiously in the black water, trying to death roll your stick. Your arms shake. The violent vibration travels up the plastic, jarring your bones. Your partner yells from behind you, "Hold her!" He starts tearing into the rotting nest with his bare hands, desperately digging for the white gold. He needs 2 minutes. But 2 minutes feels like an absolute lifetime when you are physically wrestling a living dinosaur. Your partner pulls out the first egg. It isn't a hard shell like a chicken's. It's leathery, slimy, and roughly the size of a goose egg. But there is a deadly catch. The embryo rule. You cannot just toss them in the bucket and run. If an alligator egg is turned upside down, the embryo detaches from the inside of the shell and drowns in its own fluid. Dead egg, $0. So while you are physically wrestling a prehistoric titan in a swamp of black water, your partner is holding a Sharpie. He calmly draws a little black line on the top of every single egg before gently placing it in the bucket. 50 eggs. 50 delicate, slow, agonizingly precise movements. And every second he takes, the mother alligator fights harder to rip your arms out of their sockets. It is a terrifying mix of bomb defusal and a gladiator match. The mother gator doesn't fight fair. She suddenly submerges, disappearing completely beneath the black, churning water. This is the worst-case scenario. When you can see her, you can block her. When she vanishes, she becomes a ghost with teeth. Your heart hammers against your ribs. The water around your waist suddenly goes dead calm. Silence in the swamp is never a good thing. It means she is swimming beneath you, calculating the exact angle to bite your thigh and pull you into a death roll. You frantically probe the mud with your PVC pipe, but you only hit empty water. Your partner yells, "Almost done, 2 more!" But you aren't listening. You are staring at a trail of bubbles moving rapidly toward your right leg. You have half a second to react. You brace for the impact, knowing a single bite will snap your femur like a dry twig. You slam the PVC pipe down blindly into the bubbling water. Thud. You hit solid bone just inches from your kneecap. The water erupts in a violent splash, soaking your face in foul-smelling swamp juice. She thrashes, her jaws snapping the air where your thigh was a second ago. "Got him! Move, move, move!" your partner screams, hoisting the white bucket. You don't walk out of the swamp. You scramble backward like a terrified crab, dragging your heavy boots through the sucking mud. Your heart is redlining at 180 beats per minute. Adrenaline is pumping so hard your hands are vibrating. You finally collapse onto the aluminum deck of your flat-bottomed airboat. You are completely covered in black slime, mosquito bites, and leeches. But you have both of your legs. You survived. For now. You catch your breath on the scorching aluminum deck of the airboat. The massive V8 engine roars to life, completely deafening you. The giant fan blades blow the stench of rotting swamp gas and algae right into your face. You look inside the white plastic bucket. 50 perfectly marked eggs. $1,500. You split it with your partner, so that is $750 for your pocket. Not a bad payday for 10 minutes of almost losing a limb. But the celebration is cut brutally short. The midday sun is beating down, turning the Louisiana swamp into a giant, suffocating sauna. You wipe the sweat, duckweed, and black mud from your eyes. You aren't done. Not even close. Your daily quota isn't 50 eggs. It is 500. That means you have to perform this terrifying, muddy dance with death 9 more times before sunset. You chug a bottle of warm, plastic-tasting water. The airboat lurches forward, sliding violently over the razor-sharp sawgrass. You are heading deeper into the abyss. The airboat engine abruptly cuts out. The sudden silence of the swamp is deafening. You are 10 miles from the nearest paved road. If you get bitten out here, no ambulance is coming for you. A medevac helicopter will take an hour. You will bleed out in the black water in 5. This isn't a controlled theme park ride. Welcome to Nest number 2. But this one is a total nightmare. It isn't built on a solid muddy bank. It's sitting on a floating mat of dead reeds and rotting vegetation called a tussock. You step off the aluminum bow of the boat, and the ground literally sinks a foot beneath your boots like a giant, rotting sponge. The black water instantly overtops your rubber boots, filling them with a foul, warm soup of bacteria, duckweed, and alligator feces. If you have an open cut on your leg, you are inviting flesh-eating bacteria straight into your bloodstream. But you don't have time to think about swamp rot. You grip your PVC pipe until your knuckles turn white. The spongy ground beneath you is vibrating, and it's not from your weight. Something massive is shifting right under your feet. You freeze. The vibration under your boots turns into a violent tremor. You aren't just standing near the nest. You are standing directly on her roof. Before you can even scream a warning to your partner, the floating mat literally detonates. A bomb of rotting sawgrass and black mud explodes right between your legs. The mother alligator bursts through the vegetation like an armored torpedo. Her jaws snap open, completely bypassing your pathetic PVC pipe. You fall backward into the foul water. Your rubber boots instantly fill with sludge, acting like lead anchors dragging you down. You are no longer the egg collector. You are the bait. She thrashes her massive head, snapping at the empty air where your chest was a fraction of a second ago. Your partner is scrambling over the boat's aluminum rail, but he is too slow. You are trapped in waist-deep swamp soup with a furious, protective mother, and your only weapon just sank into the black abyss. You scramble backward, swallowing a mouthful of stagnant swamp water that tastes like copper and decay. She lunges again, her jaws snapping just inches from your face. Her hot breath smells like rotting fish. You are completely defenseless. Your rubber boots are anchored in the muck, holding you down like concrete blocks. Just as she opens her jaws for the kill, a heavy aluminum boat paddle slams down hard on her scaly snout. Clang! Your partner didn't freeze. He swings the paddle like a baseball bat, putting his entire body weight into the strike. It doesn't hurt her. Her skull is literally built like a tank, but the metallic shock stuns her just long enough. She hisses, a terrifying, guttural sound that vibrates right in your chest and slides back into the black abyss. You grab the side of the airboat, your fingernails scraping the scorching metal, and haul your soaking, shaking body over the rail. You collapse on the deck, hacking up foul swamp water. That was way too close. You lie on the scorching aluminum deck, staring up at the blinding Florida sun. Your chest heaves. You just survived a dinosaur attack, but your partner isn't celebrating. He throws a filthy towel at your face. Get up, we still need those eggs. That is the brutal reality of the swamp. There is no hazard pay for almost losing your life. There is no HR department to file a complaint about a hostile work environment. If you leave the nest empty, you leave broke. You look down at your foot. Your thick rubber boot has a clean, razor-sharp slice straight through the reinforced toe box. 1 inch higher, and you would be missing 3 toes. You pull the boot off and dump out a foul-smelling soup of swamp water, black mud, and wriggling leeches. You calmly peel a fat, blood-sucking leech off your bare calf. It leaves a perfectly round, bleeding hole. There is no sterile first aid kit out here. You grab a roll of silver duct tape and a dirty rag. You wrap the tape tight over the bleeding cut to keep the flesh-eating bacteria out. Medical care, swamp style. You grab a spare PVC pipe from the deck. The mother gator is still out there, and so is your paycheck. It is time to go back into the black water. You slide back over the aluminum rail. The water feels colder this time. It instantly seeps through the duct tape on your boot, stinging the fresh leech wound with swamp bacteria. But you block out the pain. You have one job: be the bait. You wade back to the torn-up tussock, gripping your new PVC pipe. Your partner is right behind you, clutching the plastic bucket. The mother alligator is nowhere to be seen. That is the most terrifying part of this job. When a 12-foot prehistoric apex predator goes completely silent, she isn't retreating, she is ambushing. You probe the murky water, feeling the thick, slimy roots of the sawgrass. You have to keep her attention focused entirely on your plastic stick, while your partner digs into the rotting vegetation. He plunges his bare hands into the steaming, foul-smelling compost pile. "Got him," he whispers. The nest is still full. He starts pulling out the leathery white eggs, marking them rapidly with his Sharpie. 1, 2, 3. But you aren't looking at the money. You are staring at a single, ominous V-shaped ripple forming on the black surface of the water, heading straight for your ribs. The V-shaped ripple accelerates. You don't even have time to brace yourself. A 500-pound torpedo of muscle and rage slams into your thigh. The impact knocks the wind completely out of your lungs. You stumble backward, but the sucking mud traps your boots. She doesn't bite immediately. She rams you like a scaly battering ram to test your balance. You jam the PVC pipe down blindly into the churning black water, desperately trying to find her snout before she opens those bone-crushing jaws. Your plastic stick bends dangerously under the water. The swamp erupts in a geyser of foul-smelling mud and duckweed. Hold her off! Your partner screams, his arms buried elbow deep in the rotting vegetation, pulling out egg after egg. You are the only thing standing between him and a violent amputation. Your arms are screaming in pain as you wrestle the vibrating, thrashing plastic pipe. She surfaces, her cold, yellow, slit-like eyes locking dead onto yours. She is furious, and she is opening her mouth. She snaps her jaws shut, but you don't pull back. You shove the dull PVC pipe vertically straight into her open mouth. Crunch. 3,000 pounds of pressure bite down on the cheap plastic, splintering it instantly. But it holds just long enough. You are literally playing tug-of-war with a prehistoric monster using a broken piece of plumbing. Your biceps burn like fire, but the swamp isn't done torturing you. While you hold the jaws of death, you feel 1,000 tiny, burning needles crawling up your neck and bare arms. Fire ants. The rotting vegetation of the nest is a massive colony, and your partner just dug right into their living room. They swarm his arms and jump onto your sweaty back. You are both being eaten alive by venomous insects, but you can't drop the broken stick, and he can't drop the fragile eggs. If you flinch from the ants, the alligator takes your leg. If he flinches, the eggs drown in their own fluid, and you don't get paid. Welcome to the Tuesday morning grind. Got the last one, let's go! Your partner screams. His arms are covered in fragile white eggs and red, angry ant bites. Now comes the hardest part of the job, the retreat. You can't just drop the stick and run. If you turn your back, she will snap your spine before you take 2 steps. You have to slowly, agonizingly back away while maintaining pressure. You take 1 step back in the sucking mud, then another. She hisses, violently shaking her massive head to dislodge the broken plastic pipe. Snap. The pipe shatters completely in her jaws. She lunges forward. You throw yourself backward, crashing hard against the aluminum hull of the airboat. Her jaws snap shut on empty air, a fraction of an inch from your duct-taped boot. You scramble frantically over the side, collapsing on the scorching metal deck. You are completely covered in black mud, foul swamp water, and hundreds of venomous fire ants. You slap your own neck and arms, crushing the biting insects that are actively chewing on your flesh. You are gasping for air like you just ran a marathon underwater. But you survived nest number 2. You lie, panting on the scorching aluminum deck, crushing the last of the fire ants against your swollen neck. Your partner doesn't ask if you are okay. He just checks the white plastic bucket. This is the moment of truth. If you scrambled too hard, if you bumped that bucket against the hole during your frantic escape, the embryos are detached and drowned. Dead. You just risked your life and wrestled a dinosaur for a bucket of expensive swamp omelets. He carefully lifts the lid. You hold your breath. 50 black Sharpie lines stare back at you, all perfectly aligned, pointing straight up to the blinding Florida sky. Safe. Another $1,500 secured for the farm. But your body is paying the heavy tax. Your muscles are twitching from pure adrenaline overload. Your boot is held together by silver duct tape, and your skin is covered in red, burning welts from the venomous ant colony. You look at your cheap waterproof watch. It is only 10 a.m. The humidity is hitting 100%. The swamp feels like breathing through a hot, wet towel. You have 100 eggs in the cooler. You need 400 more to hit your daily quota. The massive airboat engine roars to life, vibrating the deck and completely drowning out your exhausted groan. There are no coffee breaks in the bayou. You wipe the stinging sweat from your eyes and grab another $5 PVC pipe. Time to find nest number 3. The airboat pushes deeper into the bayou. The blinding Florida sun disappears behind a thick, suffocating canopy of Spanish moss and ancient cypress trees. The temperature drops, but the humidity skyrockets. You are sweating through your filthy clothes, breathing in a toxic soup of raw gasoline fumes and decaying swamp gas. This is the dark zone. The water here isn't a waist-deep marsh. It's a black, bottomless abyss. You spot nest number 3 resting on a muddy embankment, but your stomach immediately drops. You look at the slide, the smooth, slick trail in the mud where the alligator drags her body into the water. It is a highway of flattened reeds, and it is way too wide for a standard 8-foot female. The deep claw marks gouged into the bank are the size of human hands. You aren't just dealing with an angry mother today. You have stumbled directly into the territory of a bull alligator, a 14-foot, 1,000-pound apex predator who doesn't just defend a single nest. He defends the entire zip code, and he is always hungry. You can't just wade into this one. The water here isn't waist deep. It is a black, bottomless drop-off. You have to balance on a submerged, rotting cypress log just to reach the muddy bank. One slip, and you are swimming in the dark with a prehistoric submarine. Your partner whispers, "Keep your eyes on the deep water." He isn't worried about the mother right now. Mothers defend their eggs and usually back off if you push them hard enough. But a 14-foot bull? He doesn't defend. He hunts. He is a territorial, 1,000-pound killing machine who sees you as a direct threat to his swamp. And your $5 PVC pipe? To a bull that size, it is just a plastic toothpick. You step onto the slimy, submerged log. Your duct-taped boot desperately struggles for grip on the rotting wood. The swamp around you goes dead silent. Even the birds have stopped making noise. Nature knows exactly what is hiding in that black water, and it is holding its breath. You raise your plastic stick, swallow the lump in your dry throat, and probe the dark abyss. The water doesn't explode this time. It simply rises. A massive, jagged ridge of black scales breaks the surface right next to your rotting log. It isn't a head. It is just the back of the bull, and it is wider than a dining room table. The sheer displacement of the water knocks you off balance. You wave your arms wildly, your duct-taped boots slipping on the slimy cypress wood. If you fall into that deep water, you are dead. Period. No plastic pipe will save you. Your partner screams and guns the airboat engine. The deafening mechanical roar of the massive V8 is the only thing that startles the monster. The bull thrashes his armored tail, sending a tidal wave of foul black water crashing directly over your head. The violent force sweeps your legs out from under you. You fall hard, cracking your ribs against the aluminum hull of the boat, but your hands instinctively clamp onto the hot metal rail. You are dangling halfway into the black abyss. You feel a massive surge of water pulling furiously at your heavy boots. The jaws just missed you by a fraction of an inch. Your partner grabs the back of your filthy shirt and hauls you upward with the desperate strength of a drowning man. You scramble over the scorching aluminum rail just as the black water beneath you erupts. Snap! The sound is like a shotgun blast. You don't feel teeth slicing into your flesh, but your right leg suddenly feels incredibly light. You look down in sheer horror. Your duct-taped rubber boot is completely gone. The 14-foot bull alligator just cleanly bit through the thick rubber, Kevlar, and silver tape as easily as a potato chip. He didn't even slow down. The monster swallows your boot whole and sinks back into the dark abyss, leaving only a swirling vortex of foul-smelling bubbles. You are lying on the deck, panting, with one bare, bleeding foot exposed to the blistering Florida sun and a swarm of hungry mosquitoes. You are shaking uncontrollably. Your partner stares at your missing boot, his face totally pale. "We are skipping this nest," he mutters, gunning the massive V8 engine. You don't argue. No amount of money is worth fighting a prehistoric submarine with one bare foot. You just lost your armor, but you kept your toes. You stare at your bare, muddy foot. Your toes are wriggling in the humid air, covered in black swamp slime. In any normal job, this is the part where you go to HR, file an incident report, and take the rest of the day off. But you are in the middle of a Louisiana bayou, and your boss only pays for eggs, not excuses. You grab a thick black trash bag from the cooler and wrap it tightly around your bare foot, securing it with half a roll of silver duct tape. It looks completely ridiculous, but it is your new armor against the flesh-eating bacteria. "Nest number 4, your partner yells over the deafening roar of the airboat engine. The aluminum hull slams violently over the razor-sharp sawgrass. The midday sun is now at its absolute peak. The temperature hits 100 degrees, but the suffocating humidity makes it feel like 120. You are severely dehydrated, but drinking the dark swamp water will literally give you dysentery faster than a pirate in the 1700s. The airboat slides to a brutal halt. Another massive mound of rotting vegetation sits on the muddy bank. You grab your spare PVC pipe. You have one good rubber boot, a taped-up trash bag, and a pounding headache. It is time to go back to work. The sun finally sets, turning the swamp blood red. The airboat is loaded with 500 white eggs, $15,000 of swamp gold. Your half is a small fortune, but look at the physical cost. Infographic, your daily toll, 1 missing rubber boot, 200 venomous fire ant bites, 1 severe case of dehydration, and 3 separate near-death experiences. You are not a Hollywood action hero. You aren't a famous wildlife explorer. You are just a broke guy trying to pay rent in the most terrifying way possible. You don't get a medal for this. You get a shower that stinks of swamp mud and a cheap cold beer. You look at your hands. They are covered in blisters, sliced open by razor-sharp sawgrass, and they are still shaking from pure adrenaline exhaustion. And the absolute worst part? Your alarm clock is going to ring at 4 a.m. tomorrow. The swamp is waiting. The dinosaurs are waiting. You have to do this all over again. So the next time you are sitting in your air-conditioned office, complaining about a slow Wi-Fi connection or a boring meeting, remember the guy standing in the black water with a plastic pipe. Your arena is an Excel spreadsheet. His arena is the food chain. You step onto the dry land of the boat ramp, your legs feeling like lead. You've survived the prehistoric gauntlet, but you aren't a hero. You're just a man who traded his safety for a bucket of leathery eggs. This is the reality of the swamp. No glory, just scars, staph infections, and the smell of methane that never truly leaves your skin. You look at your paycheck and realize you've earned more in a day than a cowboy makes in a season, but you've aged 10 years in 10 hours. Whether it's the Roman arena, the trenches of 1941, or the black waters of the bayou, history is written by those who bleed for it. You go home to a cold shower and a dark room, knowing the reptiles are already rebuilding their nests for tomorrow.